Okay, welcome back to members of 121 Community Church in Grapevine, Texas, and our ongoing study in Metaphysics by Parker Bowne, published in 1882. We're going to take a look at the nature of the infinite, pages 146 to 177, and in this lesson we get a good look at how Bowne differs from Hegel and how he qualifies Hegel. He appreciates Hegel, he borrows from Hegel, but we learn where he wants to revise Hegel in this particular lesson. And specifically, it addresses the issue of agency, which Bowne felt Hegel neglected. Let's begin by taking a look at Block 1. We'll take a look at the problem of God. We begin with theism, and Bowne says theism should address freedom and intelligence. We hypothetically posit the notion of absolute personality. Theism is tension between ontology and cosmology. He says there are two orders consisting of the order of reason and the order of experience. And our purpose is to imprint the brute facts of experience with the connections of an order of reason. The order of reason works to imprint the order of experience. Now, note 2, we look at that order of reason, we posit the notion of the given, which must have a fixed place in the rational system. The given is an implication of something else. Then he looks at Hegel's position, and he says it was a theory of development. The laws of thought are the essence of reality for Hegel, and creation equals the development of thought. However, Bowne says it should be qualified because activity and definiteness are necessary aspects also that need to be addressed. Therefore, he adds the revision to Hegel here. And he says, we add to Hegel this: reason is significant for being. The categories of thought must be categories of being. And the system of things offers us an expression of purpose. Purpose becomes the supreme base idea. And in order to pass from concept to actuality, the plan must be posited as the real. So the realm of positing must couple together logic and the mystery of agency. Hegel failed to articulate the fulfilling agency, that mystery of agency. This is where Bowne wants to qualify Hegel. He does agree with emphasizing the realm of positing, but it isn't just a realm of logic, it's not just the axiological, it is also the realm of the mystery of agency, and we need to define agency according to Bowne. And we know that Brightman picked up the same idea from Professor Bowne. Therefore, note 3, we begin with a theory. We posit the notion of absolute personality, where purpose is defined as to imprint experience with the order of reason. Second, there's the concrete practice, the concrete order of reason. We posit the notion of the given, which must be internal to the system and is in need of being overcome. That leads to a synthesis in Hegel, which is a system of development of the laws of thought. Activity and definiteness must also be accounted for, and the real is a posited expression of purpose moving toward realization. The real of positing must combine logic with the mystery of agency. That's the final qualification. The real of positing must combine logic with the mystery of agency. That's where Bowne qualifies Hegel. Now we'll move on and take a look at Block 2 and the concrete. We must take up that necessary moment of negation. In Block 2, mechanistic materialism must be negated. It says that the laws of motion are a necessity and therefore leaves no room for choice, no room for purpose. but it always presumes a certain constants of system. Theism triumphs over mechanical atheism, says Bowne. Theism posits the constant of system as a design toward an end, a teleology, a telos. So we must examine the concept of choice within system. Choice determines the data of purpose. The mechanistic view can only extrapolate the implications that are already present in data. The mechanistic view never can explain the constant of system. And so Bowne wants to address this concept of the order of reason. Order must be posited as the ultimate fact. We must also enlist the concept of intelligence. Our task is to account for the unity of the infinite. The infinite determines its various states of existence. It is a self-determining infinite, and the self-determining infinite is the ground of all creation. Therefore, self-determining infinite moves according to the light of intelligence, and therefore Bowne wants to posit the notion of absolute personality for the infinite. The infinite is equated with absolute personality. That is, a self-determining infinite coupled with a light of intelligence. So it's personal and intelligent. And that leads us to the notion of absolute personality. In Block 2, Note 4, personality as infinite means that the infinite has knowledge of itself and determines itself accordingly. This constitutes the ontological argument for the personality of the infinite. If mind is that which controls humanity, then mind also controls nature. So it is this the mind of absolute personality that is that teleology that is trying to imprint and moving toward imprinting nature for Bowne. It is a self-determining infinite, and it is a intelligence moving toward a teleological end. So Bowne wants to go from there and take a look at the notions of freedom and intelligence with regard to the infinite, with regard to the nature of the infinite. So in Block 3, freedom equals the power of choosing an end or the power of choosing a law. Freedom is abbreviated under the realm of thinking and reason. The intellectual life abbreviates associations that take place, and then the judgment of free thought in raising up the associations to a higher level of meaning. Ideas are partitioned into the fitting and to the unfitting, and our critique is always the preconceived teleology. We always critique eidos ideas according to the preconceived telos end of system, the goal of system. Now if you take a look at Note 2, the systemization and teleology, our activity of systemization continually refers to the teleology to be reached. We posit the mind as real. Habit and contingency are critiqued by the law of reason. Various perspectives need to be taken up, and thought raises up association to a system that includes theism and freedom. So for all three moments here, we get a summary triad in Block 3, Note 3. This is a summary triad for the entire lesson, 146 to 177. We begin with God as absolute personality, who has a ordered purpose and represents a fulfilling agency. That is key for Bowne, this concept of fulfilling agency. 2, we move through the negation of mechanistic view, and we affirm mind as imprinting and controlling nature, and mind imprinting and controlling humanity. That leads to 3, the agency of personalistic mind, which abbreviates freedom and abbreviates intelligence. Associations are raised up through reason and through the teleology end toward which absolute personality is moving in its self-determining power. So we do get a key look. I think the fundamental gain here in this lesson is usually it's block 2, but in this instance it's going to be block 1. Our big gain from Bowne in this lesson is block 1, note 2, and look down there at 3, 5, the qualifications, where Bowne says we add this to Hegel's system. And I'll read through it again. Reason is significant for being. The categories of thought must be categories of being. The system of things offers us an expression of purpose, a teleology. Purpose becomes the supreme base idea for Bowne. In order to pass from concept to actuality, we must posit the real, and that realm of positing is not just simply logic. The realm of positing couples together logic and the mystery of agency for Bowne. Hegel failed to articulate the concept of a fulfilling agency. Bowne wants to qualify Hegel with its concept of fulfilling agency. So essentially, the nature of the infinite is personalistic and understood as agency. Therefore, the realm of positing that is going to posit the true future of reality is a axiological positing, yes, but it's also, in addition to logic, it is the positing of what? Causal units. Remember, they're causal units gathered together in a relational system, which becomes a causal, unified, systematic whole, which is agency for Bowne. That becomes equated with agency. So we do get a qualification of Hegel here, and it helps us to understand how Brightman learned to qualify Hegel himself. So it helps us, by examining the teacher who taught Brightman, to understand how Brightman also qualified Hegel. So I think that's the key in this lesson, is to really key in on the fact that the problem of God in block 1 addresses the qualifications to Hegel's position, which Bowne considered to be vague and needed more definition. And so he wants to approach this aspect of the failure of Hegel to articulate a fulfilling agency, and he wants to define the role of a fulfilling agency in order to create his personalism. This Boston personalism includes a realm of positing, which is the realm of the real, but it is logic coupled with all-important agency, because, as we discussed before, it is the realm of transcendence. We know it is the realm of transcendence. So transcendence abbreviates logic and agency. Transcendence abbreviates logic and agency. Hegel did not do that. He did write a very detailed logic, but he did not address a detailed exposition of agency. So that is going to give us a great additional block of content to help us understand how Boston personalism differs from German Hegelianism. It is a qualification of German idealism by taking up the definition and the notion of fulfilling agency. And that completes pages 146 to 177, and we will move into cosmology in our next lesson, beginning with page 178.